We recently did a talk hard on Westworld, the science fiction groundbreaking film with Yul Brynner as the unforgettable gunslinger. And yeah, it's a great film. We talked about that, but I had never watched Futureworld, the sequel with Peter Fonda and Blythe Danner. So found it over on Tubi. I'm going to talk about it right now. R9 Pops, and yeah, Future World. I have not seen it. I know it says rewatch, but I actually have never seen this before. So yeah,
Worlds.
Westworld following
Roman world,
later.
medieval world, and Westworld.
1976 comes out a few years later after sort of like, I don't know, production chaos, if you will, put back on the shelf for a turnaround and just didn't get made. And we kind of get picked up where we left off, but they're going to invest a ton of money. They're making a pitch to investors and reporters about how safe they've made it, and they keep repeating themselves. And I have to be honest, thought that was really one of the weirder things for me. Like right out of the get go, I was like, why do they keep saying that? So now Arthur Hill plays Dr. Duffy, who I knew from Andromeda's Strain and some other stuff that he has done. They have a great cast. Look at the special effects. The details are still there like they were from the first movie, but you get a completely different pitch. You get a kind of completely different feel. Here we have Peter Fonda and Blythe Danner right there. And then you have sort of like the incredible use of computers and breaking through with different CGI and stuff as they sort of pitch. Everybody come on out. We're going to give you the experience of a lifetime, make you feel like you're going to go, quote, to Future World. That's right. Future World is really quite interesting that they could pull something like that off. At least in the thought of being able to try to pull that off for this movie was actually pretty groundbreaking. And remember, this is still before Star Wars. So yeah, it's after we have sort of 2001, A Planet of the Apes, we go through Andromeda Strain, we get Westworld. There's a big delay here where they do Logan's Run instead, and then we get this. So some of the elements of sci-fi development and how we see an evolution here is actually quite interesting, or actually one of probably the most interesting elements of this. How do you bring forth some of the technology? And I didn't find a lot on it. I didn't do a deep dive or anything like that, but I was shocked there wasn't more on this film to kind of give it some of the due for what it was trying to accomplish. Of course, similar to Westworld, it has all of the shenanigans that you would expect, whether it be going to space, whether it going to Rome, or whatever you want to do, all the different things are there. And this is like this interactive boxing game they play where they have these robots basically here as you're playing a video game where they basically box one another. And this was actually really, really clever. I thought that was really, really interesting. And I do think that the film does such a good job of trying to still give you, they're skiing on Mars. They cut away to some of the different locations and some of the different debauchery that's going on. And then it centers around the command center. We do have a brief shot of Yul Brynner. He's in like a dream sequence, though, so we don't get much. And then we have a friendly robot, if you will. He's like a pet for the one guy that still works there. So a lot of different things that are going on in this film for sure. I love the fantasy stuff. They kind of keep playing into that. But really, what's going on here is something a lot more devious and a lot more interesting that is completely different than Westworld. And here, the twist is that the robots are actually, they're all robots and they're making more robots. So it's like a bizarre robots are taking over, sort of like kind of a different spin on like the Skynet philosophy of how the AI robots would take over by start replacing downloading their consciousness and replacing you with like a clone of yourself. They would analyze every aspect of your metabolism and your biochemistry, and we could basically just clone you and replace you with like a brainwashed, controllable person. So therefore, we could have world leaders and reporters, hence the movie, to control all the narrative about how great this place is and keep doing that because, yep, humans are the worst things out there. They're the biggest threat to the environment in the world. That's why we have to be able to replace them. And there's John Ryan from The Right Stuff and some other things that he's done. All even one of the Wachowski movies he was in, and he's really fantastic. You think he's a android the whole time, but it's never really revealed, even at the end of the movie, where he is on things. But he's just this creepy, eerie. He's he's leery of everyone. He can't stand the fact that the reporters are even allowed to be there. Anyone question his authority. What they should do is constantly pretty extreme at every turn at your imagination. The story unpacks, we do find this mechanic who dates back all the way to the beginning of Westworld because they still need a human to go where all the water is and things like that because the robots can't do it. They short out. And his name is Harry. He's the one with the pet android, and he helps the reporters kind of move forward on figuring out the riddle, unpacking what the mystery really is. And I think Harry's really good. Now, Harry is famous. He's an actor who was famous from Rockford Files. His name is Stuart Margolin. I really haven't watched Rockford Files since I was a kid, but I definitely looked him up, saw the name, was like, oh yeah, I know who that guy is. So he's really good. The fate is, doesn't end well for Harry. But again, they try to do things that were at the time pretty cutting edge. It doesn't really age well. It doesn't really hold up well. The concept we're going to make a clone, put some headphones on them, download some dreams, download this, and that makes it this exact same replicate of their consciousness. This isn't exactly how we would think singularity would be transferred, but at least the thought process was there. It is no doubt that Futureworld is not Westworld, and it is trying to be innovative and creative and breaking new barriers and moving things forward. But reality is, it's extremely tedious and kind of a bland film. The action is people running around, reporters running around. There's these like fake guns. It's like a weird combination between like a Star Wars blaster and just a revolver, but it's like on a battery. The battery can run out, and it was terrible as well. I assume it's tied to other things that we're supposed to get with the show, but I don't know. This is why it doesn't hold up well. It has not aged well. It doesn't have any ability to get out from underneath the shadow of Westworld. Even with the small Yul Brynner cameo appearance in that dream sequence, he's not doing anything cool. So that no one's gonna. I mean, I can't imagine have come out for this movie thinking you're going to see Yul Brynner as the gunslinger again, and you get a makeout scene with Blythe Danner. And Blythe Danner, by the way, it was fine, but she's famous for being Gwyneth Paltrow's mom. Not much else, right? I think she was in Tu Wong Fu or in the Fockers franchise, but yeah, all right. And I've never been a Peter Fonda fan, so I'm not going to be, throwing shade at Easy Riders and things that he did that people do enjoy, but it's not my thing. He just looks like another 70s nerd with the wire rim glasses. And they kind of mock it like, you're not a good shot, Paul. Chuck, you don't really know what you're doing, Chuck. Like, it's just, yeah, all right. The supporting cast was the best part of the film for me, but not enough to save it. The story is just bogged down, can't get out of its own way. The fact that the androids would take over the way they are, it it feels too clunky. It also feels like it would move at a snail's pace at the way they're going. And then the reporters and the twist at the very, very end, it just wasn't very good. I didn't like Rush. So Future World for me, I'm going to give it 2 out of 5. That's probably a little on the high side. I can't see myself wanting to watch this again. So maybe more like a 3 out of 10 kind of thing, and maybe even lower. But yeah, I think 2 out of 5 will be fine because I want to give credit to a lot of the special effects and the props and the stuff that they were actually doing, because that is probably the best aspect of the film, is putting yourself into the mindset of the early 70s, definitely the pre Star Wars era of what they were trying to accomplish, how we were embracing, getting to space and what that looked like, and computers and science and all these different elements that are kind of coming together in this window manifest in a film like this. So that's the part that I did enjoy. Anyway, have you ever seen this movie? Head over to Tubi and watch it for free. Check out the description for other playlists of stuff that you might enjoy here on the channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pops.